Alright guys, time for another What If, and this is another Warhammer What If. And that is, as you can see from the title, what if the Imperium of Man arrived on the Four Nations? Now, as to what timeline of this Avatar universe we're going to do, this one is going to be set in the Avatar Last Airbender universe. So, in the timeline of Avatar Last Airbender, there you go. So, in this, what would it be like if the Imperium of Man found the planet, arrived, and what would that be like? It wouldn't be exterminatus right out the gate, but I do think there would be some genocide, like a hard genocide with the Imperium. Anyway, but we'll talk about that in a bit. And it's actually, this video kind of like makes up for a few mistakes I made in the What If the Imperium Arrived on Remnant. The big thing there is that I didn't take a few things into account. I'm still a fledgling Warhammer 40k fan, so I didn't really take things into account. So this is kind of like a remake of that video. That's really what we're doing here, is it's more of a remake than anything else. So the big thing you have to take into account is there wouldn't be a complete and total extermination here. Like, they wouldn't see them as Xeno scum. They would actually see the people of the Four Nations as a valuable commodity. Not only would they see, like, resources, it's a primitive world, but also the Imperium would definitely look at Benders and go, these guys are like Psychers. Psychers are basically like enhanced human beings. Most of them are telepaths or have some kind of psychic ability, and I think that's how they would see, while they would see like it's a primitive world, but they would see that these people could be used as soldiers. Like, these people could be used as soldiers and could be part of the God Emperor's expansion into the galaxy. That's how I kind of see it, is that it wouldn't be like, Xeno scum, exterminatus. Now, would the Four Nations win a war with the Imperium? No. And yes, while bending would help in some cases, the problem is that you're not gonna, unless Aang can like bend ships out of the orbit. I don't see that winning. But let's say like the Imperium arrives. The first thing they're going to do, and I think this would be kind of in their wheelhouse, is that they would back the biggest powerhouse in the Four Nations. And you would think, oh, it's the Earth Kingdom, right? No, they would look at the Earth Kingdom and go, they're on their last legs. Like, there's no way. No, unfortunately for everyone else, the Imperium would probably work with the Fire Nation for, they would probably make ties with the Fire Nation for a multitude of reasons. They would probably form alliances with the Four Nations for several reasons. One, the ideologies. I hate to break this to you, but the Imperium's kind of fascist. So they would kind of look at the Fire Nation and go, I like these guys, and they would definitely. And also, they're the toughest dog in the fight. Like, they're the one who has the most I say technologically compared to the Imperium, but they're the most technologically advanced. They have the biggest army, and yeah, Ozai would totally go for, seeing the weapons and armament that the Imperium could give the Fire Nation and be like, oh yeah, I'm rolling with these guys. I could totally roll with these guys. And plus, the Imperium would probably look at, would probably even leave Ozai alone. Like, they'd probably make him a governor of the planet. He would still, like, I can still rule the world, right? And they were like, oh yeah, sure, you may call yourself Fire Lord, but to us, you're governor of the planet. So, call yourself whatever, but when we call, you better pick up the fucking phone. Or we can just find another person, your daughter probably. So yeah. Ozai would totally be fine. While I don't think Ozai would be cool with the idea of, even though he's Fire Lord, he would still have to answer to somebody, whether that be the Imperium itself, the God Emperor, or Gilliman. There's really no one, I think on a whole, Ozai would be smart enough to be like, I can work with this. I can, and plus, they give me, like, augmented 12-foot tall Space Marines. I give them a few firebenders and maybe some POW benders along the way. Now, the other thing that would probably be a big impact for that the Imperium would have is religiously. They would be trying to spread the gospel of the God Emperor. To quote to quote Bender, we will teach these people our peaceful ways by force. That's how you. That's how the perfect. If you want to sum up the Imperium in one sentence, there you go. We will teach these people our peaceful ways by force. So, there you go. That's that's one way of looking at it. And when they're preaching the word of the God Emperor, they would set up churches and whatnot, and more or less try everything in their power to sever the connection between the world and the spirit world. Through this physical world and the spirit world. They would see that as like they would straight up see that as 100%, that's heresy. We're burning this down and killing your entire bloodline to make a point to don't worship this. If they catch you trying to like worship the spirits, I think they would even like agree to hunt down and kill the Avatar because he would be seen as a false prophet to them. So there would be hunting parties for for Aang and all of his friends. It's also interesting to note that while they would be giving backing to the Fire Nation, they would also be curious about like the Water Tribe and also curious about like Earthbenders. But in the end, like they would see their governments and their cultures as heresy and begin to tear it down and begin conversions, whether they like it or not. Even the Fire Nation would have to like inherit to those rules, and I think Ozai, who's never been one to care about like the old customs, would be like, yeah, sure, we'll worship your God Emperor or whatever, just I get to rule the planet, right? I still do? Cool. That's just how I kind of see it, is that the Imperium would just come in, put their nuts on the table and go, I'm in charge now. I'm in charge. Do something. Do something. Didn't think so. And the rest of the other nations are like, I guess he's in charge now. Shit. Did you let it? No, I didn't either. Anyway. Would the Imperium completely wipe out the planet? No. Would they probably wipe out several thousand or million people? Yeah. I also think that they would probably go out of their way to exterminate all the animals they see there, because they would see it as Xenos filth, and probably make them into food for their... Like, I could see them, like, hunting down and killing the Unagi, and then feeding it to the guardsmen that are stationed there. Yeah, and plus, I do see, like, they would try to, like, take the firebender... They would bring firebenders into the fold, and other benders, and make them into psychers and soldiers for the Imperial Guard to help fight in other worlds. And I think they would also genetically augment them to expand their firebending, or put them through so much rigorous training that they would unlock bending abilities, but be so brainwashed by the Imperium that they would be willingly doing this in the name of their empire. So that's a lot to take into account. There is a lot to take into account with this kind of scenario. These people aren't as advanced as what I said with Remnant, so the pushback would be pushback, but kind of hard to argue with someone who has a ship that can wipe an entire continent off the face of the Earth. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you think it would be like if the Imperium of Man came to the Four Nations? What do you think that would be like? Do you think they would back the Fire Nation? And what do you think they would do with the planet and its people? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.